Hi, folks. This is Mountain Man coming to you from parts unknown. I hope I got a good signal tonight. I wasn't going to do a picture show, but I got some stuff I want to go over with you. And Trump has been doing his cabinet meetings and press conferences, Oval Office interviews, and dropping hint after hint and exuding confidence and a steady hand. So I know we see it and hear it a lot. Charges coming, but they are. We've been told that they were. There's going to be charges coming, and one of them you see on the screen right there, the Cardinal Comey. So, and Jack Smith, he got publicly, once again, humiliated on the world stage. Ink pen form. So give that Jack Smith. But we'll go over that. So I'm thinking we're going to have at least, we got three that are really obvious. Jack Smith, James Comey, Adam Schiff. And I hope to remind you all about something called a doctrine of state secrets. And usually I play a video and give people time to get in, but I'm going on my chit chat before people even get in. But I will just give people a minute. How about what if I play something? We give people time to get in. It's not fair for me to go on a live stream and not give folks time to get in. What can I play? Here's what I can play right here. Have you all seen this one? It's a short one.
I don't know if it's an ability or if you have it, just you can't quit. And I've seen people quitting. And if they would have held out longer, they would have been successful. I've seen it so much. I've seen some of the most brilliant people in the world that never made it because they were quitters.
Quitters never win and winners never quit. So, that's a good one. I've been meaning to play that one, but didn't have a right time for it. Here, I got this one. I don't know if I ever played this one or not. While we're waiting for people to get in. Cash. Let's see what he's got to say.
Outside of this committee, and some people on this committee have accused you of promoting the QAnon movement. My colleagues have already asked your future boss, Mr. Bondi, many questions about this. I think it's easy to see these attacks for what they are, guilt by association. Are you a follower or promoter of QAnon?
No, Senator. In fact, I have publicly, including in the interviews provided to this committee, rejected outright QAnon baseless conspiracy theories or any other baseless conspiracy theories. They must be addressed head on with the truth, and I will continue to do that. And I will always continue to support Americans who support law enforcement, our military, and want a secure border.
Notice he added anon. Anon. So anyway, so hopefully we got enough time's gone by. We got people in before we get into a discussion. Let's see. Doc's here. Sissy's here. How you doing? Nice to see you this evening. Wow. KNS cleanup. Yeah, all right. Debbie's here. Wayne, nice to see you. Todd's here. Robin, Benjamin, Diane, nice to see you. Melinda's here. Television shows. The E-list coming out tomorrow. Burschner, how you doing? Nice to see you. Tracy, Ronald, Angela, thank you so much for stopping by. Buy me a coffee. You and Mike and Bev have come by this week and helped out. I appreciate it. Andrew, how you doing? Pam Bondi, she said, yeah, 3 said for be released tomorrow. Yeah. Well, a lot of them have been making news. Tulsi been making news. Pam Bondi, and hi, Rebecca. Love. How you doing? Kicking Bird, how you doing? Flannel Cheese. Stanton, how are you? So, let's see. Make sure I get it. Hi, Yvonne. Nice to see you. Tammy, nice to see you. Yeah, Tulsi Gabbard, she took away security clearances of creepos who were looking at nasty stuff on their computers with the NSA, no such agency. Pam Bondi says she's coming out with the Abstenio file. But one thing Trump pointed out that I think has been rectified to some degree is that one tactic that they do is they sully, they taint stuff like that. They'll put in names of people that shouldn't be in there, or try to that's what that psyop was about. Jeffrey Epstein's diary being found in Brooklyn. Remember that? And they'll put people's names in there that don't belong in there and hope that will stall its release. And you see pictures of Trump sitting on a couch with some young women and Jeffrey Epstein. It's so badly photoshopped, it looks like Epstein is growing out of the center of the couch. He doesn't even have any legs. But then you see people of the ilk of, who did I see using that for a thumbnail? One of these, not Harry, one of these types like Harry Sisson. What? I can't think of his name. It's just some I suspect maybe U.S. AIDS funded characters, like a lot of these so-called attorneys that put out stuff. But anyway, hopefully they've got that cleaned up, and or they put it out and say, hey, this list was altered and we caught the person altering it. I don't know. Maybe they will. Maybe they won't. So anyway, we heard from General Flynn, and he put out a number of things. And he was on Benny Johnson's program. And I've got some interesting clips. I've got one picture that I do want you all to put on your social media. Get a screenshot of this, please, and put it on your social media. I haven't seen this picture in 40 years. That's how it's been scrubbed. Kind of like the same way they wanted to scrub the internet of Tank Man. This picture won the Pulitzer Prize in 1960. It shows a priest giving the last rites to a Cuban farmer, owner of his land. He refused to work for the Castro regime. He died by a firing squad after a, quote, trial by Che Guevara that lasted 4 minutes. You will never see this picture on a t-shirt. Remember I told you all about commissars? Commissars in the Soviet Union. They would go around to farmers, and if you had more potatoes than they thought your family needed, they said you were hoarding or speculating. and you would get it on the spot. Remember me telling that story? They right down to your potatoes. And yeah, that's what they started doing in Cuba. 1960. You figure the war ended in 1945. A short 15 years later, what was happening in the Soviet Union started happening right off our shores in Cuba. And is going on to this day. So we haven't heard a peep about Cuba, but I'll tell you what, they better keep their heads down because something's going to happen with Cuba. The Castro regime is not going to survive this. Roland, how you doing? Lone Wolf, nice to see you. Let's see, I'm just looking through the comments. Yeah, do me a favor. Just put it on your Facebook. You don't need to make a comment. Just put the picture up. You know, Che Guevara, occasional Cortex wore a T-shirt with his picture on it. It was a lot of college kids in the 70s wore a Che Guevara shirt. I saw pictures of him and after he was captured and met his fate. But anyway, I wouldn't have had any problem volunteering for that. Carry out that sentence, a lawful sentence. But anyway, we were talking about in one of our broadcasts, I said, I played some videos of this White House, Sheldon Whitehouse, a senator. And I said, you know, we've never heard of him. But all of a sudden, when all this stuff is going on, he's mouthing off, trying to stop Elon Musk, going along with the talking points, blah, blah, blah. And I said, well, you keep an eye on, remember that name, Whitehouse, Sheldon Whitehouse. We haven't heard from him. He's been a senator forever, like most of them. Stick a pig and watch him squeal. Well, sure enough, turns out his wife got a bunch of money, millions of dollars on things that he voted for. Save the whales crap. I don't know how many of y'all watch Viva Frei, but a lot of people do the stories on it. But it's, you know, just the fact that we saw this corruption coming. We saw the corruption coming. Anyway, with the Cardinal here. Oh, here's something. Trump is doing things methodically. You know, he's handling things in the order of pressing magnitude, and he's got quite a bit of things. Israel and Gaza being one of them. And he posted this video today. And it's got music, but, you know, if you're watching after the live stream, if the video disappears, it means I got in trouble. But anyway, let me go ahead and play it.
set you free, bringing the light for all to see. No more tunnels, no more fear. Trump Gaza is finally here. Trump Gaza shining bright, golden future, a brand new light. Feast and dance, the deal is done. Trump Gaza, number one. Trump Gaza shining bright, golden future, a brand new light. Feast and dance, the deal is done. Trump Gaza, number one.
So he's showing people what could be for Gaza. Island Girl, how you doing? Did I show you all that picture of that king that got arrested from Nigeria for COVID fraud? I didn't know if I had a chance to show that to you all or not. I said he looked like James Earl Jones on Coming to America. But let's see. Is this from General Flynn? No. Wait a minute. Where is it? He made a post. Let me see if I can find it. Here we go. Here we go. General Flynn to Elon Musk and Doge. I have one piece of advice. Despite all the pushback and lawfare attacks, keep exposing the fraud. Keep exposing the illegalities in our government. Keep exposing the truth. People in and outside of government are starting to talk. More to follow. Remember, I'll see if I got any responses whether I put his picture up or not. That king. Well, I'll get, if I didn't put it up, I'll put it up for y'all. But oh yeah, we got to watch all the wives, Diane. That's how they get it. Fauci's wife, she had a bunch of stocks, a bunch of business interests in medicines and vaccine, stuff like that. Follow the wives. Yeah, and that's why Bernie's kicking like he is. Anyway, so General Flynn gave a little interview with Benny Johnson. And remember, I used the term in the past, directly appointed officers. And I said I felt that there were a number of people who were directly appointed officers. And now we find out that Elon Musk is currently being called a specially appointed officer. And I believe that's the case with General Flynn right now. If you listen to the way he phrases his sentences, it sounds to me like he's involved, actually actively involved. Or he could be talking, repeating things he's heard from people in the know, but he sounds to me like somebody that's involved.
For acts of criminal acts that are so egregious, like for example, anybody who someone who is involved in child trafficking that is so outrageous, horrific, egregious, whatever adjective you want to use, that those are the kinds of people that I think should receive the death penalty. People that have committed treason, the levels that we have seen, that ought to be on the table. And we got whistleblowers coming out of the woodwork, and we're funneling it into the right governmental offices to do the right things. And let me tell you, these people are busted. And so for Jim Comey, that's why I said earlier, Jim, if you get this message, start thinking about what you're gonna give up, because you're gonna give up some of your freedom because you're gonna go to jail. You must go to jail because of what you did. But maybe they'll cut you a little bit of a deal, and they'll put you in a softer prison for a shorter period of time because you're able to to give up some evidence on some of these other people who are even more deeper than you involved in this. Because Jim, you know exactly who I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know that they said no deals, but somebody who materially assists, you give material and significant assistance, you can find some redemption. There's a difference between redeeming yourself, partially redeeming yourself, and cutting a deal. So anyway, if you were involved in any of the things that General Flynn is talking about, qualified for the ultimate penalty, the capital D penalty as an F. Be a little nervous right now, wouldn't you? Wouldn't you be a little bit nervous? And he had a little more to say, too, about the Cardinal Comey we see praying over there on this picture I'm leaving up for the most part. But anyway, here he's going to give Jim a little more advice.
Just a yes or no answer from the general. Nobody respects you more than our audience. Will we get handcuffs? Will we get prison sentences? Will we finally get arrests? The long promised 10 years that we've waited to see these criminals operate. Will we get arrests, General?
Yes, and for Jim Comey, start measuring yourself there, buddy. I know you're kind of a tall guy, so go to a tall man's shop, send your measurements over to the Bureau of Prisons because it's coming.
Everybody follow Jim.
Yeah, he's like 6'7". They'll get a prison uniform for you. But I remember I was going through my memory banks. Now we're dealing with this Amy Berman Jackson is a judge that was heavily involved in the operation to destroy the Trump presidency through lawfare. She was the judge for Roger Stone. She was the judge for Paul Manafort. I'm not sure what all else she was in, but what they did with Trump, I liken to, remember the game Twister? You have to put your right hand on, this dot and put your left foot on that dot, and somebody else had to do the same thing. You're twisting all over. They had to do that, legally speaking. They were playing prosecutorial Twister, pulling stuff out of their backsides to try to cobble something together to destroy Trump and everybody associated with him. And she was part of it. And, of course, Comey, we know what he did. Now, Trump fired this special prosecutor, Hampton, somebody or another, and he went to court. And Amy Berman Jackson, because it's hard, you kind of have it in the back of your mind, Amy Coney Barrett, but no, Amy Berman Jackson. So, and I was saying, maybe we better not in the future have judges named Amy, or at least with 3 names. But then I said, well, Sandra Day O'Connor was pretty good, so can't limit it to that. So, but anyway, she ordered him put back in his office, and she's playing these damn games. I was watching it on Robert Gavoya's channel because he was going to put up another Trump presser that I guess got put off tonight. I don't know. And she bought him another 3 days. He's been there for 2 weeks. God knows what. Destroying evidence or hiding things or whatever. And, my mind got flooded with a lot of stuff like when General Flynn got fired. There wasn't any attempt to reinstate him for a wrongful termination or jumping the gun and reinstate him. And do you all remember who fired General Flynn? See if anybody knows in the chats. So while you're cogitating on that, I certainly hope, and I have near certainty that whatever this guy is doing, since Amy Berman Jackson put him back in his special prosecutor's office, I think everything he's doing is being monitored. I think everything Judge Jackson is doing is being monitored. All their communications. I think it's going to come out that they are knowingly twisting our laws in order to subvert a duly elected president. Because why? Why do I think that? Because FISA works both ways. FISA warrants work both ways. And the FISA court, we know, got compromised. We know people were unmasked. We know some judges were removed from the FISA court. And I'm sure that given the doctrine of state secrets, that there have been vetted judges placed on the FISA court, and I'm sure for something this serious, this special prosecutor is probably being looked at under he's probably got a search warrants and surveillance on him okayed that they probably don't even know about. Doctrine of state secrets. You don't have to let it out if you're dealing with a threat from within, enemies, foreign and domestic. So yeah, that's why the Trump administration is jumping up and down. Hi, Jetlag, how you doing? People have been saying, "Oh, bummer," about who fired Flynn. Got to take another guess because that's not the one who did it. Oh, bummer was gone. Flynn was Trump's director of national security. Here, I'm going to put another face up while you're all thinking about that. Panda Man. Panda Man. He's the attorney that got on the phone with Trump's attorney and said, "You better make sure you got a great effing criminal defense lawyer." He was supposed to be a White House attorney, and he was all in on menacing Trump by proxy and Trump's attorneys, even though he was on White House staff, telling them all he wants to hear is peaceful transfer of power. That was his advice. And I called him Panda Man. He's got his baseball bat back on the wall there. It says justice on it and a picture of a panda behind him. So remember this guy with the fake blonde hair. He's another one. Just a blast from the past. So, all right, we got some more guesses. Mr. T, no. Mr. T was surprised and angry because the allegations came out that General Flynn fibbed when he said he had no meetings with the Russian ambassador. I forget his name. And Comey and Strzok twisted it to where General Flynn passed probably 5 words at a dinner where the ambassador said, "Are you all going to lift the sanctions against us when you get in office?" It was during a transition. And Flynn said, "Yeah, I can't talk about that right now. wait till we get in and get settled in. We'll be able to talk to you. Oh, okay. Robin got it. Pence. And Flynn didn't even get a chance to defend himself. Nobody defended him. As a matter of fact, Pence bought it hook, line, and sinker, which is the official story. I don't know if he did it to bait the deep state to continue with their efforts or not and flush out people. But Pence is the one who fired Mike Flynn. And I didn't even know he had the authority to do that. And I don't believe he did have the authority to do it. But my point is, nobody went to a judge. No, like this Hampton dude. Hi, Pappy, how you doing? Who's getting his extra 2 weeks and 3 days? So anyway, just to keep things in perspective. And now we have General Flynn making these very public statements about James Comey and others, and people who have been engaging in trafficking and P3DO, that the ultimate penalties on the table. And he's telling Comey to, Lavrov is the foreign minister, Angela. Yeah, I got something he put out. I'll put it on the screen here in a little bit. Lavrov, he's a good, I like him. But anyway, nobody did this kind of pushback that we're seeing with these judges. The other judge we have, I don't know if I have his picture or not, but he's the one that gave Trump 48 hours to send billions of dollars out the door for the deep state to continue their stinky little operations. That is Ali, what's his face? And Gavoya was pointing out that he's the one that we talked about was born in Canada. And they scrubbed his Wikipedia, where you can't even find out where his parents were born. But he's obviously of not even from the hemisphere. A recent arrival, I'll put it that way. But Marco Rubio stepped in on that deal and said, well, we didn't suspend these people. You're telling us to lift the suspension. If we reviewed and paid out after a review of our own accord, as that's what the suspension was about, to review the spending. And some of the things you're ordering have already been remedied, but we've changed other things that you're demanding we throw money out. It's not a suspension. It's a cancellation, okay? So, if they want to argue about that, they have to file something else altogether, because the contracts aren't suspended. They're canceled. How about that? Put that in your pipe and smoke it. Judge Ali. No, this was, no, that was Ali. Yeah, Ali Akbar, or whatever his name is. So, we got to shake up this judiciary, and we got to see what, this guy just became a judge December of last year. And he's ordering the president of the United States to spend billions of dollars when he doesn't know his ass from third base. So, of course, it's ridiculous. But the press is going to be pushing the narrative that Trump is defying a federal judge's orders. Well, there's a lot of idiots that are federal judges, and our judiciary has been infected with subversive elements, and we'll flush them out. Birds will sing. Isn't that right, Mr. Comey? So we're seeing a collapse. Oh, guess who's got a YouTube channel? Guess who's got a YouTube channel? And I can't go there and put thumbs downs. I can't make smart aleck comments, because one thing about YouTube, they just tap you can type comments in, but they'll never see it. Nobody will ever see it, and you don't even know. You've been nixed. So I didn't even bother. But here, look who has a YouTube channel. Senator Adam Schiff. And, thumbnails kind of have a character to them. At least in my experience. I thumbnails. And this looks quite a bit like a Midas Trash Network thumbnail, especially the choice of words. Schiff destroys top Trump attorney in fiery back and forth. Schiff dismantles top Trump attorney in fiery. Yeah. He made himself look like an idiot every clip I saw. But somebody is helping him in the media. Adam Schiff isn't putting this stuff up. Somebody's producing it. Somebody's putting it out. And I'm sure that they're not using his name without his knowledge and permission. So, I saw a video that about Disney, that Doge in its searches are going to come across some stuff having to do with Disney's finances. We know that Politico, was it? And some other news services had subscriptions paid for by USAID. And other NGOs or nonprofit organizations that are laundering money, in my opinion, for the Democrat Party and for liberal causes. Was Disney Plus getting money too? Because I wondered out loud, how can you destroy billion dollar franchises, box office flops, and keep pumping hundreds of millions of dollars down, as Archie Bunker says, the turlet, Edith, the turlet, and keep going? So maybe we're going to get a bombshell about that. There's going to be plenty of bombshells coming. The Trump administration has proposed excluding Canada from the Western Intelligence Alliance Five Eyes, the Financial Times reports. And for those of you who are new to this, Five Eyes or Five Intelligence. They spell it EYES, like your eyeball, but it means the letter I, short for intelligence. The Five Intelligence alliance of countries. So Canada's going to get the boot from that, which I don't doubt. Trump's going to shut them out. And as we're watching these interactions, Macron, soon it's going to be Keir Starmer, coming to meet Trump. Keep in mind that participating in election interference is technically an act of war. I've been over that in the past. And it certainly can call for, short of war, embargoes, blockades, tariffs, in retaliation for these efforts to undermine, especially in the allied country's government. So, if Canada is kicked out of the Five Eyes, that's going to be a big hint, you know. And what has Trump said almost every day for the last 2 weeks? That Governor Trudeau should just go ahead and work with him and make it a 51st state. So, we'll see which way that ball bounces. Let's see what this is. Zelensky. This was yesterday. Zelensky's statements on demands for nuclear weapons are not serious. Secretary of State Marco Rubio. Trump said that in 2 weeks, the U.S. will start selling golden residence permits for $5 million. Did you all catch that? The U.S. president also stated that a future agreement with Ukraine on rare earth metals could be valued at $1 trillion. Trump also said that the United States is not providing any defense assistance to Ukraine right now. I think I might have a video clip of the Commerce Secretary, I think it was, explaining about these visas. A lower level green card visa that allows you to have an extended residency, lawful residency. I think they're around 800,000. Maybe it got up to 1 million. I remember I was working with a guy from Great Britain, but I mean the UK. It was 20 years ago. I think there was 500,000. You had to have a business investment of 500,000, and I think it went to 750, and it might be 1 million now. That's the regular one. Trump has got a $5 million one now. You got to have five. Hi, Phil. How you doing? Jerry, how you doing? A $5 million, and the money he's talking about is jaw dropping. That's why I said in my other broadcast I wanted to put gobs of money in the title. So I said, I'll put it in there tonight. Because what is Trump talking? He's talking about gobs of money. Okay? Let me see if I got that clip. Let me find that clip. This is, I might not have, here we go. I think this is it. Oh, this is Pete Hegseth. This is Pete Hegseth telling the media they're a bunch of jerks. I think this is the one that it's not about the money part. What he was bringing up was that the cheaper visas at 250,000 applicants. 250,000 applicants would bring $1 trillion into the country. Expressly into the Treasury to reduce the national debt. After he was finished, Trump said, well, now he's talking about the other visas. The one I'm talking about for $5 million. He said it might be a little optimistic, but we could bring in 50 trillion. He said 50 trillion. Now keep in mind, our debt is around 36 trillion, maybe 37 trillion. Just the gold visa Trump is putting out. I'm not going to say he's proposing it. He's putting it out. Would pay off the national debt and have another 14 trillion available for the U.S. Treasury. And $1 trillion, we were calculating the way they did it in the past, is about $2,400, like the first stimulus check. So 14 trillion would be what? How many thousands? 10 trillion would be 24,000. So 30 some thousand dollars. No, that's if they just gave the residual after paying the debt to Americans. So what we're looking at, I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm saying that's the kind of gobs of money we're talking about just for one visa program. The other visa program, the standardized one, would bring in another $1 trillion, roughly 2,400 per taxpayer. So people keeping track and trying to understand what Trump is doing would also consider what Trump has said about tariffs. This is only gold card visas. You add income from tariffs, and he said it would pretty much wipe out any taxes. People wouldn't have to pay taxes. He said that. I think might get a copy. I might download the entire Oval Office press conference, and we'll go over it line by line. So if people would get it out of their heads about looking for flaws, looking for soft spots to attack Trump, and pay attention to what he's saying. But you know what they did during this cabinet meeting? And this is why Hegseth dressed him down a little bit like he did in this clip I'm going to show you. Trump was going over these numbers and immediately again, eggs. They brought up combat troops in Ukraine. Oh, they'd love that. Trump was like, no, we're going to have business interests over there, which is going to be a form of protection in itself. Remember when I told you all something that wasn't reported? Venezuela, when socialists took over Venezuela, they confiscated the property, equipment, inventory, everything for the company Cargill. Cargill. It's a big agricultural, kind of like Southern States or something like that. America didn't do a damn thing. Let them confiscate all that. You think that would happen under Trump? You think for 1 second some socialist junta could have come in and taken a major company and confiscated all of their property? No way. And if Trump is dealing with international investments for the United States, you think people are going to cause trouble with Trump? No way. So anyway, these reporters, you can see the soft spots they're trying to get. They're trying to say that Trump's approval is low. That's an outright lie. His approval is skyrocketed. They're trying to say people are down about consumer prices because of eggs. They want to manipulate the situation in Ukraine to be an ongoing conflict. If they could twist it to say Trump is Putin's puppet. Anything to try to trip up what Trump is saying. This is Hegseth's response. I'm sorry, this might be J.D. Vance. Let me see. Let me play it and see.
NATO you can forget about. I think that's probably the reason the whole thing started. And I think, J.D., we can say that. Do you have a statement on that? You've been very much involved. I gave him the beauty.
Great. Gave me the hardest question, sir. I mean, look, as the president said, we're not going to do the negotiation in public with the American media. He's going to do it in private with the president of Russia, with the president of Ukraine, and with other leaders. And I think that's how this has to go. I think that I just want to push back against some of the criticism I've seen of the administration on this, because every single time the president engages in diplomacy, you guys preemptively accuse him of conceding to Russia. He hasn't conceded anything to anyone. He's doing the job of a diplomat, and he is, of course, the diplomat in chief as the President of the United States.
Yeah, they keep trying to draw stuff out of Trump in public during private meetings where they're trying to get things done, and twist it when they write their stories. Trump had to call him out a couple of times. You've been asking me the same question it's an inappropriate question. How many times are you going to ask me that question? You know, it was either about eggs or what's going to happen with Putin or something that is totally disruptive and deflective of what's happening. Oh, yeah. Hi, Pepper 2 Ears. Yeah, they want the money. Keep going. The military industrial complex. So, anyway, things are moving by so quickly, they don't know which way to turn. And the media creeps are falling, like with Joy Reid. And who can defend her? You know, Brian Stelter came out trying to say something, you know, about her being unfair. She was fired. But who can really say with a straight face it was unfair for her to get fired? You watch some of these clips and the abrasive, desultory, insulting, and I'll say it, downright racist comments that she made were unbelievable and should not have been allowed. But this character here, what is his name? Somebody I've never heard, Ben Crump. Joy Reid's exit from the readout is yet another black woman losing her solo anchor spot at MSNBC. No one can deny her impact. She amplified black voices. Now, Trump amplified black voices. Told hard truths, shaped political discourse, whatever. So you got a few never-beens or has-beens sticking up for her. But you look at all the names, you know, it's spaced out. is spaced out where the impact is really kind of delayed. Jake Tapper, Don Lemon, Forehead, what's his name? Lester Holt. Here, Jake Tapper announces his new book, The Search for the Man Who Peed Jake Tapper's Pants. Ha ha ha, it's a Babylon Bee. You know what I noticed about this? Is it says coming May 2025 from Penguin Press. Do you all remember Penguin Press? Do you remember, see if my memory is right. Do you remember a scandal about Penguin Press? Do you remember a scandal? Well, Penguin Press, I believe, was involved in a situation where it was discovered they were reporting sales for books that were never sold. And it was another book company, I'm trying to think of it. But anyway, money laundering accusations. Okay, and remember I told you all about a warehouse that a friend of mine owned? And it had some liberal tome in there. It was boxes stacked taller than my head, 7 feet in the air, about 20 feet deep, cases of this book. And I wish I'd have kept a copy, but it wouldn't have been right, wouldn't mind to take. But they just stored there because they weren't selling, but they report them as sold. And people make a lot of money. Ghost books. So anyway, yeah, here's the Fox News had the approvals. And the lowest one is 61%, which is a undeniable majority. If that were something a candidate got in an election, it would have been considered an ass kicking. If somebody got 61% of the vote to the others 49, that's the lowest one. In support of what? Reciprocal tariffs. That's because they don't understand. The way we were talking about it earlier, money in Americans' pockets. We're talking about the visas. Gobs of money for the visas. We're talking about tariffs. Gobs of money for the tariffs. We're talking about cutting government by trillions. Gobs of money that is going to be saved cutting the government back. We're not even talking about natural resources like opening up ANWR in Alaska, like the Keystone Pipeline, which Trump put a truth out about that. If I got time, I'll go over it. We're not talking about where they're opening up copper mines again. All has to do with commerce and trade and the natural resources that belong to this country that every American should be able to benefit from. Every lawful American. Well, the Fort Knox gold. What's going on with the Fort Knox gold? We shall see now, won't we? Something is going to blow open that is going to activate the brains of, I'm going to make sure you hear me, it's a B, billions of people around the earth. They're already watching. something is going to come out that's going to go, whoa. Governments have been taking advantage of human beings literally since we started having governments. So Fort Knox might be the kickoff. The biggest one, 81%, in support of deporting criminal illegals. Who the hell would be against that? That tells you there's a, even if it pulls off a little bit, it's at least 15%. 15% to 20% of nitwits walk around. Well, they might be criminal aliens. I don't know. They got polled. But I don't know anybody with common sense that would be against deporting criminal illegals. And 76% is in support. Let me see here. In support of effort to find and eliminate government waste and fraud. How the hell could you have 24 people against that? Well, how many millions work for the government? And their families. My dad works for the National Security Administration. He never goes to work, but, I'm still a big shot because he's a big shot. 69% in support of banning men from women's sports. All that's, to me, low, even though it's an undeniable majority. 63% in support of freezing, reviewing foreign aid. So he's winning on every major point. But they've been trying to push the narrative that his popularity is down. Even the Harvard poll, which Trump is appreciative of, says he's at 52%. 52%, a certain percent says, I don't know, and 40-some percent says they disapprove. But that's Harvard. I mean, Harvard is, even though Trump was praising them, I'm sure there are some people in Harvard that are good people and teach reality. But they're constantly under fire. But those numbers are skewed. House GOP. Breaking. House GOP passes budget bill which ends tax on tips, overtime, Social Security, promises made, promises kept. Yay! But wait a minute. Whoa. What's the big rug pull they always do to us? What do they, every time you see, the House passed this and everything's okay. Well, no, it's not. Because it's got to go through the Senate. It's got to go through the Senate and then get signed by the president. Remember, I'm just a bill. Yes, I'm only a bill. And I'm sitting here on Capitol Hill. So it's passed the House. That's great. Now we got to see what happens to it in the Senate. You think White House is going to go for it? What do you think? Hopefully he'll be arrested. I see Menendez's name in the chats. Yeah, maybe he'll end up like Menendez. Not one Democrat voted yes. Yeah, they're disgusting. And I'm glad they're showing how disgusting they are. Indefensible. Here, Jack Posobiec put this up. About the creeps at NSA. Wait a minute, where'd it go? Huh. There we go. I've reached out for comment. Can anyone confirm the rumors that Eric Swalwell was participating in those NSA chats every day under a naughty screen name? Remember, Mitt Romney, Pierre Delecto, Do you think this is the only time the White Hats knew about that disgusting NSA chat room? You think Pierre Delecto's in there? I say could be. Could be. And so here's Trump. And, I know it's selfish of me, but every time I look at what he's saying, I think about, well, what he's doing uh, turn into more freedom for us and more money in our pockets? Because that's what it's all about, right? Our incredible United States economy and undeniable American spirit have enabled the creation of the greatest technology companies on earth. Our digital economy is bigger than most of the world's countries, and the market cap of even one of our companies exceeds each European country. One of our companies exceeds each European country. Instead of empowering their workers and creating opportunities, foreign governments have instead tried to tax, fine, and hinder American tech companies. Well, our own government's been doing that to us. But anyways, both friend and foe have been treating American tech companies harshly, as if our companies are their piggy banks. Well, that's what they've been doing to American workers since 1913. This will now end. It is my objective to level the playing field and end these attacks. We are putting these countries on notice to end their unfair treatment of American countries, large and small. Our companies are the greatest investors in the world, and they're treated well. Our ingenuity, grit, drive, and perseverance have built America. If these countries want to participate in the AI industrial revolution, it's time to choose sides with America, not against us. So, one other thing that Trump said was that the EU, the European Union, was created basically to screw over America. Okay? I remember when Germany switched their currency over from the Deutschmark to whatever the EU uses, a euro. And German people, I mean, it was like if you had 10,000 in the bank, after they switched your currency, it was the same as having 6,000. They lost 40% of the value of their currency blending it all together with these other European countries. But anyway, they're trying to join their forces to screw us over. Trump's going to put a stop to it. Here again. Like our steel and aluminum industries, our great American copper industry has been decimated by global actors attacking our domestic production to protect the smelt and the glowworm. To build back our copper industry, I have requested my Secretary of Commerce and U.S. Trade, to study copper imports and end unfair trade, putting Americans out of work. Tariffs will help build back our American copper industry, strengthen our national defense. American industries depend on copper, and it should be made in America. No exceptions, no exceptions. America first creates America. It is time for copper to, quote, come home. Well, maybe we'll be able to make a copper penny for a penny instead of it costs us 2 pennies to make a penny that's not even copper, something that'll dissolve in your swimming pool. When you can't even make your own damn pennies, you're in trouble. What's this one? Oh, here's Midas Trash. Midas Trash Network. What do you got for us, Midas Trash? Here's their game plan. Okay, again, I didn't go in there and make a comment or do anything with it. Here's what their ball game plan is. Boycotts are taking hold. Protests are on the rise. Federal courts are hitting back. Who's that? Amy and Ali? They're going to get put in their place. You watch. The Trump-Musk-Vance regime's popularity is plunging. They're going with that rhetoric, narrative lie. And Doge is losing credibility. All right. In these dark times, they put this out today. In these dark times, it is important to recognize that people are fighting back. Join them. Join them. Join them where we can keep pissing away our money, throwing away billions of dollars, letting the country be overrun by a bunch of no-speakies. Yeah, that's the best way to go. Yeah, nobody likes Trump. Here you got this one. This one is intriguing to me. U.S. Donald Trump on February 26 urged Apple to scrap its diversity, equity, inclusion. DEI was a hoax. Trump says Apple should eliminate diversity policies. Remember what I was talking about the other night, where Trump had a great chagrin against Apple for not helping them get into the devices of the two assassins that tried to take him out. Now you're seeing this Tim Scott guy. Look at Tim Scott's face. Is that his name, Tim Scott? Look at his face. Looks like somebody getting ready to put cuffs on him. But, yeah, he's playing ball, bringing $500 billion back into America, and he's going to get rid of his DEI woke crapola. I got to think of James Carville. I'm not even going to put it up. He's gross. He's the same crap, talking crap. J.D. Vance put this up. During my Senate campaign in 2022, I met a Ukrainian-American man in Northeast Ohio. He was very angry about my views on the conflict and my desire to bring it to a rapid close. You are trying to abandon my country, and I don't like it. Sir, I replied, your country is the United States of America, and so is mine. I always found it offensive that a new immigrant to our country would be willing to use the power and influence of their new nation to settle the ethnic rivalries of the old. Amen to that. One of the most important parts of assimilating is seeing your country as the USA. It's part of the bargain. If you're welcomed into our national family, you ought to look out for the interests of the United States. I know many immigrants who have the right perspective, and I'm grateful to them. For example, I met Ukrainian Americans during that campaign and since who agreed with my views, or at the least asked the right question. What is in the best interest of the United States? That conversation needs to be had. You know, I was talking about Victoria Spartz, a representative from Ukraine. I was not complimentary of her because she kept wanting to take care of Ukraine, take care of Ukraine. Now, apparently she's on board for taking care of the United States. And Ilhan Omar telling all her people in Somalia that she would work to do what's best for Somalia. Hey, you're in America now. It's what's best for America. Well, maybe she won't be in America for long. Get a load of this. See that truck? That truck at the bottom? It got blown up by improvised explosive device. Texas border rancher lost his life by a suspected cartel improvised explosive device at the southern border, according to the Texas Department of Agriculture. 74-year-old rancher Antonio Cespedes Saldana was driving on his ranch when the explosive detonated. We heard it from Tom Homan. We've heard Trump allude to it, that the military, if called upon, has more than enough wherewithal to take out those cartels. And I know the president of Mexico, I forget her name is, it doesn't sound Hispanic, but anyway, Trump has been throwing her compliments. But he is a type to have an iron fist and a velvet glove. But he had an interesting hint at one of his, I believe at the Oval Office press briefing. He was talking about the water that he let Gloria Steinbaum, thank you, that he let come down from up north in California. On the one hand, he's warning her that if she doesn't get a hold of those cartels, he's going to do it for her. On the other hand, he complimented her by saying, well, that was a good phone call I had where she said, we have a media program communicating about drugs being bad. He said, that was a good idea. I'm going to copy that from her. But he also threw something else out there. Goes down into Southern California and beyond. And beyond. He's going to give Mexico access to more water. If the biggest word in the English language, it's only got 2 letters, but okay, when you've got a reliable, plentiful source of water, you can do stuff. You can have development. You can have a civilized living conditions. You can provide natural resources to your cities, towns, golf courses, resorts, things of that nature. Do they have the wherewithal for desalination, de-desertification? That was what was happening in one of the first things Russia did was blew up a dam that allowed water to flow into Crimea. The Ukrainians had blocked water to Crimea. They were attempting to desertify, turn the area into a desert. That was one of the reasons the war started. And Chernobyl, the biolabs, and the dam blocking water to Crimea were the first things Putin went after. Crimea River, that's right. So that shows you the value of water. And Trump's letting her know Southern California and beyond. What's beyond Southern California? Oh, Mexico. So anyway, Trump is amazing. He's always got he doesn't say stuff for nothing. For nothing. I found it interesting that none of these creeps in the press corps asked him about this judge, what's his face? I forget his name already. His 48-hour deadline, or else you'll be held in contempt. And of course, all the usual suspects put out their videos, final order, somebody's going to go to jail, and Trump's got to comply. Nobody asked him a thing about it. So that's petering out, this business of having these radical judges do stuff. And we got to get rid of them. We can't, there's no fixing that fence, okay? What these judges have done. They've got to go. And we'll see how they might be small potatoes. They might continue to play cards with them for now. Use their law licenses. Who has no business in a position of public trust? Keep flushing them out. And when time comes, drop the hammer. Here's Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi Gabbard has fired everyone involved with a repugnant, raunchy, intelligent community chat found by journalist Chris Rufo. I put out a directive today that they will all be terminated and their security clearances will be revoked. Well, then CNN put out a story, did you all hear, that alleges that some CIA characters were saying in retaliation they were stupid enough, if the sources are to be believed, to threaten to divulge classified information to China or other foreign actors. And Tulsi gave another interview where she said that she knew who those people were. And their ride has come to an end. Their ride. Speaking of rides, this is Egghead. Egghead. Remember Egghead? Egghead, that Supreme Court justice from Brazil. He tried to put a bunch of conditions on Truth Social and Rumble and then tried to shut them out altogether and was trying to impose sanctions on those companies, Truth Social and Rumble. U.S. judge rules Trump Media Rumble can ignore Brazil's censorship orders. Here we have Truth Social. Put this out. Court rules that Brazil's gag order against Rumble, which Trump Media and Rumble jointly sued to halt, are unenforceable. In the U.S., here's how political hack Kyle Cheney reports the decision. The legacy media is the single biggest source of disinformation in the country. Who's Kyle Cheney? What the hell did he have to say? Whose side is he on? Apparently, if Truth Social thinks he's a political hack, we know whose side he's on. Kyle Cheney. Trump's media emergency effort to block orders by a Brazilian Supreme Court justice was summarily denied by a federal judge in Florida, who noted there's been no effort by the U.S. or Brazil to enforce any orders against the company or Rumble storage court, whatever, against Trump's company or Rumble. That's what the hell is he talking about? The court finds that the purposes and directives purportedly issued by the defendant were not served, upon plaintiffs in compliance with the Hague Convention, to which the United States and Brazil are both signatories. Anyway, what Truth Social is putting out is that the U.S. court told Brazil to stick it, okay? Don't got to worry about what the hell they're saying. So this guy's acting like, I don't know what he's acting like. He's trying to make it look like there's something wrong with Truth Social when they won. Here's a meme for you. Doctor, and then what happened? Fed. And then he asked me what I did last week. Who does that? Here we go. Breaking. President Trump signs an order suspending security clearances for Covington and Burling LLP employees who worked with deranged Jack Smith to weaponize government. Trump made a point of saying deranged Jack Smith a number of times. And most of the press were just laughing and having a good time. And after he signed it, he said, give this pen to Jack Smith. So Jack Smith is going to be hearing from probably Kash Patel or Pam Bondi, right? In the very near future. Here is something else Trump brought up that ought to have people in the pharmaceutical industry, all the areas that Bobby Kennedy's looking at, ought to make them all wonder and worry.
The autism stat, and you hear different numbers, but it's thousands. They say between 10 and 20,000. So if you go back 15 years ago, we had like nobody. It was 1 in 20,000. Now we have 1 in 34. Is that right? 34. So 34 or 36 kids have autism. And if you go back, I guess 18 years, that whenever that was done, it was 1 in 20,000. So we got from 20,000 to 34, 36. That's we've done something wrong. There's something you're going to figure it out. Maybe it's a spray that we spray all over the place that nobody else does. Other countries don't. The Pennsylvania Dutch, they don't do anything, and they're amazingly healthy. And he understands. He's working with Dr. Oz, who's...
Yeah, that volume wasn't very good. But he's bringing up childhood illnesses. Okay, childhood illnesses. And it's going to be looked at. It's being looked at right now. And here we go back to gobs of money again, because the damage is already done. We've got this huge rise in autism. We've got the feminization of boys that is apparent. It has to do with nutrition or medications or something that's being doled out. We need to identify it and put a stop to it. But also there has to be some kind of recompense. Some manner of recompense. Well, the volume wasn't good on that video. It's hard to, from the different sources you get them from. Let's see if you hear this one. Remember this guy? Hank Johnson, the guy who was talking about islands flipping over. Islands flipping over. Here's what he's got to say now. What do you got to say, Hank? Brain surgeon?
If a president willfully failed or refused to comply with a court ruling, they could be held in contempt of court theoretically, but it would be up to the U.S. Marshals Service, which is a part of the Justice Department, to be the enforcement arm for the federal courts. Is that correct?
Your hypothetical would have to play itself out.
It would be the U.S. Marshals who fall under the Department of Justice who would have to carry out the contempt order. And so what would happen if the U.S. Marshal Service, under the command of the Justice Department at the direction of the President, refused to carry out a court order of contempt? What would then be the state of our democracy?
Again, I'm here on behalf of the Judicial Conference to talk about the shortage of judges that we have, and I would comment on those needs in particular.
It would probably be the U.S. Marshals turning around and locking up whatever dopey judge would even try that. Okay, because it's already been ruled. In the course of his official duties, the president has immunity, hands off. You know, I got a video that the headline said, "Do you believe in guardian angels?" Do you believe in guardian angels? I want to show this to you. I had to watch it a couple of times because I had no idea what happened. I'll play it the first time. See if you can get what happened the first time it plays. Apparently, she's got a guardian angel. Jiminy Crickets, that was close. Did you see what happened? They just so happened to have two camera angles. Let me play that again. That missed her head by a half an inch. She wouldn't have made it. She would not have made it if she had got struck. I mean, that would have been the end of it. Yeah, God is real. I'm sure she knows that too. Catastrophes avoided. Here, I'll play this the first time. The crash where the plane. I said that she was coming in too hot. She was coming in too fast. And Roland's in the chats. He put in the comments that it looked like the landing gear broke, and yes, it did, because they're not designed to take that kind of force. But anyway, if she was coming in too fast, she had the ability to abort and take off and try again, come in at a better attitude, at a better rate of approach, an angle of approach. But she didn't. She tried to force the landing. Here is a pilot who aborts a landing. I'll play it the first time. You see if you can see what's going on. He aborts the landing at the last minute. Did you see right when he's getting ready to touch 15 feet from connecting with the runway, and that white plane on the right-hand side of the screen taxied right out in front of him. Right at the last minute, what did he do? He firewalled it, aborted the landing, and took off to circle around and try again. Watch it again. From the right, you'll see a white jetliner cut right in front just before they land. Now that's a pilot. That's a pilot that had his head on right. As he had his head on right, was paying attention. You know, this guy here, remember the Clint Eastwood movie? I forget the name of it, where Clint Eastwood played a Secret Service agent? Clint Hill, Secret Service agent who leapt onto John F. Kennedy's limo after assassination, dies at age 93. True story. In 2016, I remember that I told you all about a friend I had that interviewed. I was on the phone with Charles Manson. Well, the same fellow wanted me to be a stringer. That's what you call a reporter that helps. We were heading down and we were going to interview this gentleman here and also the ranger that was with Oswald when Oswald got shot by Ruby. The guy had a RV, and we had a trip planned out. We had about 2 weeks. We were going to head down and do these interviews. We're going to travel around and meet with him because he was an advanced age then. I mean, 93 when he passed away. But anyway, my friend, about a week before we were leaving, suffered a heart attack. But he's the guy that I was in on that interview with Charles Manson. So anyway, I almost got to meet Clint Hill, but I didn't. Here is something interesting. Tell me what you all think of this. Nothing. I haven't heard anything about this in the news. I watched a couple of Rudy's podcasts. He didn't bring it up. I've been checking but I checked it yesterday, and I haven't seen anything being said about this. Rudy Giuliani satisfies Fulton County election workers' $148 million defamation case. What? 104? You figure that would be all over the news, wouldn't you? Here's what ABC said about it. It's weird the way they word this. Former New York Mayor Rudy Giuliani on Monday satisfied the judgment against him that required him to pay two Fulton County election workers a total of $148 million for defamation, court documents show. A jury found Giuliani liable in 2023 for we know this is all ABC's BS, falsely accusing him of tampering with 2020 vote in Georgia. In the process of reaching a settlement in January, he was held in contempt twice by two different federal judges for failing to relinquish possessions and continuing to defame the two election workers. The court documents show that the settlement action has been dismissed in district court after it was determined that Giuliani had fully satisfied his obligations to Freeman and Moss. $148 million? Court documents showed the settlement action had been dismissed in district court after it was determined Rudy Giuliani had said nothing. He's in Rome right now. And, we get into the Pope and how sick the Pope has been. They said he was seen today up and walking around. Vigano, he put out a video. Maybe I ought to do a review of that too. A very compelling video on YouTube. If you get a chance, listen to it. But anyway, Giuliani, I didn't hear him say anything, refer to anything about this. This is a big deal. $148 million? Ronald said Rudy has no money. Where did he come up? Did he pay? Or was somebody contacted and said, listen, this is enough. This is over. I don't know. Something going on with this. But, Rudy Giuliani is, you're not going to get any information out of him he doesn't want anybody to have. And he's so cool, he's got change for an ice cube. So maybe down the road we'll hear something about it. That's right, Angela. It doesn't say they got the cash. Something happened. Things are in motion. I'll put it that way. And I guess you all have seen this. I've seen different iterations of it, but this is a guy named Professor Nez. Nez Nations put this out. A young Dan Bongino looking at Hillary Dillery Do, right? Look at Dan, he's got hair. She hates all of you, Dan Bongino. And what is her little tweet? What does Dan Bongino's tweet say? I worked with Hillary Clinton. She was evil. The stories agents around her have and have kept bottled up inside are horrendous. Working on her detail was generally considered a punishment assignment. You will never meet a more mercenary and destructive public figure in your lifetime. She hates you, all of you. So, I'm like everybody else. I am interested in what's the interactions going to be. Dan Bongino is going to be the link between FBI and Secret Service in investigations. Okay? He's going to be the emissary. He's going to be the one that ties things together and helps Kash Patel put something comprehensive together. And it's going to involve international money laundering. Okay? Big time. On a big time scale. Here's one of the so-called judges that Midas Trash Network says judiciary's fighting back or whatever. Judge Deborah Boardman, that's on top of the other nitwit judges we've been talking about, has blocked the Education Department and OPM from sharing data with DOJ, citing privacy violations. This is the same judge who blocked Trump's birthright citizenship order, barred DOJ from reviewing government contracts. So let's see if this person remains on the bench after all this is said and done. Oh, speaking of Irish, I thought this guy was Irish, but he's Canadian. Here, this guy. Of course, you know I'm being facetious, right? Here's what he thinks should happen with relations with Canada and President Trump.
I also believe we need to ban Donald Trump from attending the G7 summit. Donald Trump should not be welcome here. Why would we invite someone who has threatened our very... Why would we invite someone who has threatened our economic well-being? Why would we invite someone who threatens our allies and threatens the world's stability? Why would we allow a convicted criminal into our country? Why would we invite someone who has such disdain for multilateral organizations. Instead, what we should do is use the G7 summit as an opportunity to work with our allies on a plan to resist Donald Trump and his dangerous threats to the world.
Call Donald Trump a convicted criminal. That's why we have to get rid of these judges, especially Merchan, okay, and Kaplan and Erdogan and anybody else involved with this subversion. So, yeah, now you see why Canada is going to be removed as a Five Eyes country, because they have some Irishmen up there talking bad about Donald J. Trump. I'm pretty sure he was Irish. Oh, here's something I was going to put up the other night. You don't hear anything about this kind of stuff either. NBC News put this up a couple of weeks ago. I got a screenshot of it. Alleged ringleader in $250 million CVID fraud case goes to trial. Nobody's talking about it. Nobody's talking about it. This is domestic. You know how much money we put into that illness overseas? And do you think she's the only one? And then I said I was going to show you this guy. Wait a minute. I was going to show you that African king that got arrested for, and just like that, the Democrats don't like investigations anymore. Here he is. Missing Nigerian king arrested by FBI for fraud. CVID, $4-point-something million. There he is. He was living large on our dime. Anyway, so let's see. I want to play something. I haven't played. Let's see. Do I have something interesting I haven't played in a while? Oh. Let's try. I haven't played her in a while. Since we're coming to the end of the road with this Ukraine situation, I want to thank you all for spending your precious time with me. I forgot to remind you all to give me a thumbs up. I hope you do. And if you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing. Welcome to my new subscribers and all the folks on Rumble who watch. And don't forget, I have a Buy Me a Coffee link in the description if anybody wants to help the channel out. And thank you to Angela and Mike and Bev for helping out this week, and all the others who have contributed Buy Me a Coffee to help the channel. I appreciate it. And, you know, if nothing else, just to keep your memory fresh, what started all this crapola with Ukraine, enjoy this closeout video. You all have a great night. I'll be seeing you probably tomorrow. This is Mountain Man, over and out.
Corralled into this box where we either have to hate Vladimir Putin and believe everything and that reminds me a lot of you're either a white supremacist or you go with the Democrat narrative on everything under the sun.
The most lethal terrorist threat to the homeland today, white supremacy.
And I want to understand white rage, and I'm white.
I mean, there's as much interference here as you could possibly imagine. Before you even get to Hunter Biden, Nancy Pelosi, John Kerry, Mitt Romney, and all of their children who earn millions from Ukrainian gas companies. These days, it's hard to believe anything because they've lied about COVID, they lied about Russia collusion, they lied about the Ukraine impeachment trial, and there's so much more going on in Ukraine that nobody is talking about.
Does Ukraine have chemical or biological weapons?
My job as a journalist is to try to understand what is the truth here. I don't like being lied to, and we're being lied to on an epic scale. When we're told your only choice is you have to be 100% with Zelensky. Slava Ukraina, who's a puppet who you can find on the internet in black stilettos and leather pants. Zelensky was selected, like so many of our leaders. And honestly, with big tech and with election fraud these days, we don't know how many leaders all around the world have been selected for us and weren't actually voted in.
Back better. Build back better.
If Donald Trump gets the Republican nomination, there are many of us that will move heaven and earth to ensure he doesn't win.
We are fighting the same battles all over the world. To pretend that this war is about Russia and Ukraine is a barefaced lie. Putin has been warning for 15 years that he is not going to stand by while the globalists take over the world, build bioweapons facilities and whatever else they're doing in Ukraine. Ukraine has been a center of money laundering for many of the leaders in this country. Billions of US dollars have been laundered through Ukraine, and we say nothing about it. Does nobody question these things? We have an idiot like Lieutenant Colonel Vindman.
Mr. Vindman, Lieutenant Colonel Vindman, please.
Do you always insist on civilians calling you by your rank?
And sits there as a lieutenant colonel. He didn't even make colonel. And he's telling the president of the United States what his policy should be. You have a traitor in the form of Maria Yovanovitch, who was Obama's ambassador, who's telling Ukrainian government officials, don't listen to the will of the American people.
In his July 25th phone call with Ukrainian President Zelensky, the president badmouthed Yovanovitch, calling her bad news.
I was shocked, absolutely shocked.
And then she's given a cushy job for life at Georgetown University, and we're told that the president of the United States cannot say to his foreign counterparts that we want you to look into something.
If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Oh, son of a bitch. And they put in place someone who was solid.
So much hypocrisy and dishonesty here, and Ukraine is at the center of it all.